Welcome to our first ever Bible Basics for basically everyone with Pastor Fancy. I got my child here who's going to help me with this. We're following up on the Passover event. I hope you all enjoyed that. But you might be wondering what that 10th plague was, where the death angel passed over and they had to put the blood. So that was number 10. What were the first 9? Well, I'm going to link you to a video from the folks called The Bible Project, and they have a wonderful visual Bible study on that first part of Exodus. So there's the book of Genesis and then Exodus, and Exodus kind of means exit. They are exiting from Egypt, so Exodus, and how they went from 400 years of slavery to exodusing through Egypt, went through the Red Sea, the water parted, you might have remembered. You watch that video, and then we're going to have a little bit of learning and some learning fun on those first 9 plagues. Okay? Watch this awesome video. Wasn't that amazing? So they went through really fast all the other 9 plagues, got to that 10th one, which we studied, and we kind of went through. We built with our Legos and painted on the posts and the lintels. So what were those other first 9 plagues? Because Moses is trying to get Pharaoh to do what? So that they can exodus from Egypt? Let my people go. They were slaves, so they couldn't just say, hey, we're going on vacation. Pharaoh had to release them, or else, like he did at the Red Sea, charge after them with his army because he's going to bring them back. Needed them. Not really, but that's how he felt. Okay, so what were the other 10? If you want to read it, it's in Exodus, and it starts in chapter 7 in verse 14, and you read all the way. That 9th plague ends at the end of chapter 10. So you might want to read that. I'll put a little title down there for it. So here's the first plague. The first plague was they turned the Nile River into blood. So you might want to have some fun with that. Here's what I think you could do. You could get a big bowl and put inside the bowl, just an empty bowl, drop 8 or 9 or 10 drops of red food coloring, and then take a big pitcher of water and pour that water so that you can see the stream of water. It's clear water. But as you pour it into the bowl with the red food coloring, what's going to happen? It's going to turn red like blood. And here's the thing. You don't want to drink blood. And if you have a fish bowl that you have fish in and you actually pour some blood in that, what's going to happen? Those fish are going to... Can you imagine? These Egyptians, they needed all of that fresh water for their crops. They needed all of that fresh water because they fished fish. Well, you can't put bloody water on your corn. You can't put bloody water on your wheat and grain. It's going to kill it. And you can't fish in bloody water. You see how this was a plague? This was horrible. This was awful. It ruined everything. Pharaoh's like, yep, nope, I'm not going to let my people go. Second one. This one's kind of funny. Frogs. Frogs everywhere. There was these frogs. It says in there that they would wake up and there was tons and tons of frogs in their bed. Oh, that would be horrible. So imagine this. Take every stuffed animal that you have in your home. Maybe you got a ton of them. And pile them under your bed sheets and then get inside there and see, don't you feel like cramped? And imagine that they're alive. And they're moving around in there. Oh! Okay, now imagine they're cold, wet, slimy frogs. Whoa! And you get up and you can't walk on the floor because there's frogs everywhere. Oh! They couldn't get rid of them. You couldn't sweep them out of the house fast enough. Pharaoh still said, nope, not going to let them go. Okay, number 3 was an infestation of tiny little biting bugs. Here in the United States, they would be like, horse flies or gnats or something like, and they just got on you. And you've ever had that, It's not a mosquito, it's not a bee sting, but you just can tell it's kind of biting on you, and you start itching, and then they start itching all over, and you can't get in the shower and get them off. They just come swarm right back on. You sit down to eat, they come right back on. Everywhere you go, school, it's all over you, and Pharaoh still didn't let them go. So here's an idea. You might want to take, maybe a Sharpie? Nah, Mom and Dad wouldn't like that. Maybe take, something that can dry erase and just start putting the little dots all over your head for where they might bite you. And see, how do you look after you've been bitten by 1,000? Woo! You might want to ask Mom and Dad if that's okay. All right, that was number 3. Number 4 was an actual swarm of flies. It was so bad, you couldn't see across the street to see your neighbor. You couldn't see anywhere. And you know how flies, when they fly by your ear, what do? It bothers you. Can you imagine trying to sleep and flies are all over it? Have you ever seen flies swarm on something that's died? I mean, now they're swarming on you and they're swarming on your food. I remember being at picnics and you're batting all the flies off. This is so many flies, you can't even see your food. So what can we do? Here, do this. If you want to say, some leftover foods that your mom's not going to let you eat anymore or something like that, you put it down there. You take a handful of dirt and you just cover it with the dirt. And then, do you want to eat that? Ugh, it's nasty. It's gross. There's an idea for you. All right, that was number 4. Pharaoh still said no. Number 5, all of their cows, their sheeps, their goats, their horses, all of those, their chickens, they all died. It's like, wait a minute. Let's say you're a farmer and you have all these cows. You're a cattle herder or a dairy farmer. You get up one morning and they are all dead. Ooh. I don't really have a good one for this because I don't want you killing animals. But just imagine what it would be like if you got up and let's say you have a couple of dogs and a couple of cats and they were all gone. Wow. That's what it was like. Did Pharaoh still say, okay, Israelites, Hebrews, you can go? He still said no. Okay, here's the next one. You get boils. I don't know if you've ever had a boil, but maybe you've had chicken pox or maybe you've had the mumps or the measles and it's just pox marks all over you, these little red things, and they get crusty and you itch like crazy. I had chicken pox one time and they were everywhere. And Mom is like, don't scratch. And all I wanted to do was scratch. Well, that was just me in the house. What if everybody in the house, everybody in your neighborhood, everybody at school, everybody at Walmart, everybody was constantly covered in these? So again, take a dry erase red marker and all over. Yeah, you might want to ask Mom and Dad if that's okay. But imagine if you did and what you would look like. That would be horrible, especially if they itched like crazy. Have you ever gotten poison ivy? Oh, this was every inch of their body. Did Pharaoh finally say, okay, you can go? Nope, he said no. All right, next, number 7, a hailstorm. Now, I've seen it sleet and these tiny little ice droplets all over. It makes it hard to walk, it makes it hard to drive. But hailstones, maybe you've seen them on Weather Channel or something. They are huge, they're as big, they can fit in your... If you got hit in the head by one of these hailstorms, you probably got a concussion. I mean, you can't do an umbrella, they're gonna rip through the umbrella. So here's my idea. If you got some fun noodles out there, you and your brothers and sisters and mom and dads, you could take the fun noodles and start whacking on everybody. Or if you have some good Nerf darts, start shooting each other with Nerf darts. I know my son had one of those battery-powered ones that was like a machine gun. And he would just sit there and I'm going, ah! That's what it would be like. You can't get outside because it's just gonna pound you to death. Did Pharaoh, after that one, let him go? Nope. That was number 7. Okay, we got 2 more. Number 8, a locust swarm. If you've ever actually been in a locust swarm, you know what that's like. I happened to be driving my car one time down south when a swarm of locusts. It was almost as black as night because they just darkened out the sky. They were so thick and they're just splattered. Have you ever seen big bugs splatter on the windshield of your car? I mean, there were thousands of them, and we couldn't windshield wiper them off. We had to stop until the swarm went by. And then my dad's out there with his credit card just trying to scrape the window from the guts of these bugs. It says, if you read it in the Bible in Exodus, that the swarm was so bad you could barely breathe. And then flies just simply irritate, but locusts eat. And they ate everything. They ate every fruit on every tree. They ate every cob of corn on every corn stalk. They ate everything they could eat. It's almost as if a ginormous lawnmower went across all of Egypt and just mowed everything down. So here's an idea for you, for locusts. If you can, go outside and rake the leaves, or if there's a way to mow, and then you'll look at it before and then look at it after, and you can see, wait a minute, there's a huge change. Imagine if that was all your food. All right, that was number 8. Did Pharaoh say, let my people go? Nope, still didn't. Wow, that's really stubborn. Number 9, darkness. Darkness for 3 days. I mean, can you imagine? It's so dark out, you can't see the moon, you can't see the stars. They didn't have flashlights, they didn't have headlights on cars, they didn't have light bulbs, they had torches and candles. Not enough to light anything and everything for 3 solid days. So here's an idea. If you have a room in your house, maybe a basement or a closet that has absolutely no windows, go inside there. Don't take any flashlights, don't take any cell phones that light up, nothing. Get in there where it's completely dark, not an inch of light, and sit there for 30 minutes. I bet you can't. I bet you it drives you crazy. It's that dark for that long. Okay, that would be only 30 minutes. Imagine if that was 3 days. Pharaoh said, nope, still not gonna. And that's where we get to that 10th plague, the Passover, or if they didn't do the blood, the Pass in. And then the death angel took the firstborn of every family. Hope you enjoyed this. We'll probably try to do some more. If you have any comments and suggestions, send us an email at vkids@victoryhighway.com. Love you guys.